Hey families, it's Alicia Fries, the Operations Manager for OpenMinds Education, and I'm back to bring you another awesome video. I hope that you guys have been enjoying watching them. They've been a lot of fun to make, and shout out to my sweet husband for taking my baby on a walk every time I'm trying to make one, so thank you, Steven. I couldn't do it without you. Okay, enough of that. Let's get to our project today. It will be on making these cute little helicopters. Oh my gosh, so cute, right? Okay, so this is made out of egg cartons, tape, and construction paper right here for the blade. Let me tell you just a little bit about helicopters, and then I will explain how to make this project at home. Helicopters are agile aircraft capable of taking off and landing vertically, hovering and flying in different directions. I don't know about you, I've never been in a helicopter before. I'm actually very scared of heights, so I'm not sure how I would fare up there in the air, but you know, maybe someday. The lift and thrust of helicopters are provided by spinning rotors, usually featuring 2 or more blades. You might already know that. I'm sure that even if you haven't been in a helicopter, you've seen a picture of a helicopter in a book, on a TV show, or even in a magazine or movie, right? Helicopters typically have one main rotor and one smaller rotor in the tail, which counters the torque effect, stopping the helicopter from spinning in the opposite direction. So just a little bit about how a helicopter works. Now, some helicopters have 2 horizontal rotors which spin in opposite directions, allowing the helicopters to lift heavier objects. All right, that's the information that I have about helicopters today. Normally when I do this project in my classes, I also read this book, Rosie Revere, Engineer. It's a great story about a little girl who wants to be an engineer, but she keeps failing at these projects and being laughed at, and it's so humiliating for her. Until one person actually explains to her that failing is a part of success, because it's just one more way that you know something that doesn't work before you get to the way that something does work. I would encourage you to read this at home, especially if you want more insight into this little project that we're doing today. And speaking of which, I would love to explain to you now how to make this helicopter at home using just these familiar household items. So, what you will need is an egg carton. Grab that, okay? You will need a pen or a pencil, some tape. You will also need a pair of scissors, careful with those, a piece of paper, and if you have them, markers. It's just fun to add some color to our project. So the first thing that I want you to do is take your egg carton. We actually don't need the whole thing, so we're just gonna rip the top right off. Boom. We only need 2 egg carton cups. So a really easy way to make this happen for you is to grab the cups like separately in your hands and just very gently tear, okay? And the nice thing is, if you feel like you've ruined one, you can just try it again with some of the other cups. So I'm gonna tear another one off because, like I said, we only need 2. And now I have these 2, and I'm gonna rip these very gently in half. I do want them to stay intact, the cup part, as much as possible. Once you've done that, you're gonna take your pair of scissors, and you're going to very carefully trim off some of this extra part of the egg carton, okay? We're trying to make these little baskets, basically, all right? And you want them to be as even as possible and as identical to each other as you can make them. All right, so I'm gonna do this again to this one, and then we'll see if I need to trim any more to make them a little more even. I'm gonna compare them, let's see. I'm gonna hold them even against each other because this is eventually what we're going to do. And you know what, I think that actually looks pretty good. It's pretty even all around, so I'm gonna use these 2 for my helicopter. Once you have that, you are going to need to make a helicopter blade. So what you're gonna do is, we want it to look kind of like a Y, basically, all right? I don't know if you can see that. It's separate right there, but it almost looks like a Y. There's some instructions, like exact measurements to follow, but you know what, for the sake of our video and for the sake of your project, kind of being able to do trial and error, see what works best, I'm just gonna encourage you to sketch a Y, okay? It's kind of like a block letter Y. I'll show you in just a minute. Doesn't have to be any sort of perfect. Maybe you try making a really small one, maybe you make a really big one, and then you can see how that kind of affects your helicopter and the way that it flies. So this is what I've done. I'm gonna cut this guy out. And like I said, in all honesty, when I've done this project with some of my students, sometimes it is a huge success and other times it's a big fat flop. I never really know how it's gonna go. It just depends on the paper that we use. It depends on where we're testing them. It depends on the weight of the egg carton. So when you test this and do this project at home, I just want to encourage you. If it's not working or if you feel like you're failing, please don't give up. I would encourage you to test it and then try to figure out why it's not working, what you could change, and then adapt your project to make it better and more successful. Okay, I have my blade here. I have my egg carton cups for my helicopter. What I'm gonna do is very carefully, I'm gonna take my pen or pencil and I'm gonna poke a hole in the top of one of the egg cartons. Now, if you need help with this, please ask a parent for help. I'm gonna take my blade and I need to stick it in there, so I'm just kind of gonna squeeze the end together a little bit and poke it through this hole. And then I want it to stay in this part of the cup, so I'm gonna fold it over. I'm gonna grab my tape and just put a little piece of tape on here to make it stay. All right, perfect. Now, all that's left to do is to stick my egg cartons together. I'm gonna take more of this tape and I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna put this one on the side here. Put them together. I'm gonna try to pick the sides that are as even as possible. And then using my tape, I'm just gonna wrap it around the edge, like so. You might need a lot of tape for this, but keep in mind the more tape you use, the heavier your egg cartons will be. And this might affect the way that it flies, right? Because weight definitely affects things. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm just gonna go for it and risk it, see what happens. And then if I have to edit it later, I will. I'm gonna add some more tape. And there we go. We have this cute little egg carton cup that kind of resembles a helicopter, all right? What would make it look even more like a helicopter is if now you took your markers and you added some designs or some colors. I always like giving them some windows. You can decorate your blade. Make it look as much like a helicopter as you can, okay? So I'm gonna put these two windows here. These actually look kind of like eyes, but makes it look all the more fun. I mean, your helicopter can have a face. It can be smiling if you want. And this is it. This is my helicopter. This is what you will go test to see if it flies. Now the goal is for your helicopter to gently spin down, not to just plummet, but to gently spin, okay? What I have found helps is if you will first bend the blades. That's pretty important because that will help it to gain momentum and spin. And then actually in one of my classes recently, another student said that when he tested it just like this, it didn't work very well, but when he added another fold at the end of each blade, it was much more successful. So you might want to try that, a double fold. I'll show you what that would look like in just a minute. Kind of like that, okay? I would also recommend trying it from a safe height, okay? But someplace that's kind of high up. Make sure that you have your parents' permission before you do. But if you just drop it from, your height, it's not gonna have as much time to pick up momentum and to maybe start spinning. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Find a safe, high place where you can gently drop your helicopter to see if it spins. And then if it doesn't, if it's not spinning, if it's not working, like I said, consider the things that you can change about it that would help it to be more successful. Is it too heavy? Do you need to have thicker paper? I just use white printer paper, but maybe you need construction paper. Maybe your blade needs to be bigger because the egg carton is a little bit heavier. Maybe this guy, the Y that we made, should be fatter or wider or taller. There's lots of different things that you might need to do to make this project a greater success. All right, that's what we're doing today. I'm not gonna stand up and test this guy. I'm gonna leave that to you guys at home, but I do hope that you try this and I do hope it's successful for you. And if you have any extra tips that you figure out about it, please let me know. It's so much fun to make, it's so easy, and you can just use the household items, right from your kitchen, which is so nice. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think. I would love to hear back from you. And I hope that you enjoy this video and this project. All right, my friends, take care. I will be back again soon, you know it, and I will see you all later. Bye.